Welcome to Phasenomics. This channel is, well, it's more than just a channel.
Right.
It's a guide, really.
Yeah, I like that.
From trusted sources to help you figure out, well, all the crazy stuff happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
Economics can be
Oh, absolutely.
confusing, and it has real effects. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's been making headlines. Tariffs, trade wars, and how they impact the global economy. You ready to get your economics on?
Absolutely. This is a particularly timely deep dive, especially with all this news about U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
Right, it's like we're stepping back in time almost. So, President Trump is bringing back tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Starting March 4th, 2025.
Okay.
We're talking 25% on most goods, 10% on Canadian energy.
Wow.
He says it's to protect American jobs and boost revenue.
Right.
Which sounds good on the surface,
Sure.
but what are the potential downsides? What could go wrong here?
Well, the big concern is retaliation, which could lead to what economists call a trade war.
A trade war.
Yeah, think of it like a tennis match,
Okay.
where each country keeps hitting the ball harder and harder, and eventually everyone gets hurt.
Oh, I see.
Both Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada and President Sheinbaum of Mexico have hinted at imposing their own tariffs
Really?
if the U.S. doesn't reconsider.
So instead of a win-win, it could be a lose-lose.
Exactly. A lose-lose for everybody.
Ouch. Our sources highlight some potential trouble spots.
Yeah.
Like Michigan's auto industry, higher prices on imported parts,
Right.
possible job losses.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for American car buyers either.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there.
Oh.
U.S. refineries, they depend heavily on Canadian and Mexican oil.
Oh, right.
So these tariffs, they could mean higher fuel costs for everyone.
Really?
Our sources suggest tariffs could add something like $800
$800.
per year to the average U.S. household's expenses.
Wow. That's a significant hit
Yeah.
to most people's budgets. Makes you wonder if there are, like, alternative solutions out there,
Uh-huh.
to protect American jobs without triggering these kinds of consequences. It reminds me of when my family tried to buy a new car a few years back. Prices had gone up so much because of tariffs on imported steel, and, well, we ended up delaying the purchase.
Huh.
It really hit our wallets hard. I can't help but think about those historical parallels. Like the Smead-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930.
Oh, yeah.
It was meant to help American farmers, but it ended up contributing to the Great Depression.
Right. A classic example of how protectionist policies can backfire. And what's interesting is, while the U.S. is taking this approach, some other countries are going in a completely different direction.
Really?
The UAE and India, for example,
Okay.
they're actively building bridges, not walls.
That's interesting.
Their Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA, it's all about reducing barriers to trade.
So it's like a total contrast then.
Completely. CPA aims to make 80% of goods
80%.
traded between the UAE and India tariff-free.
Wow.
And their trade, it's already skyrocketed to $84.5 billion last year.
Wow, that's incredible.
And they're aiming for $100 billion by 2027.
$100 billion.
That's a massive leap.
But are there any potential downsides to this kind of agreement?
Well, that's a great question. While CP focuses on mutual benefits, there could be sectors in both countries that face increased competition, right?
Right.
The key is how both governments manage those transitions and provide support for potentially effective industries.
That makes sense.
It really highlights a fundamental question.
Okay.
Which approach, protectionism or collaboration, will be more successful in the long run?
It is a question worth pondering, for sure. So we've laid out the facts here, but what matters is how you, the listeners, connect the dots and form your own conclusions. We've explored two contrasting approaches to global trade, the U.S. using tariffs,
Right.
the UAE and India opting for collaboration. Which path leads to greater prosperity? That's something for you to think about as you continue exploring the complex world of economics. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Phasenomics. Stay curious.